I'm trying to do a bunch of these little tests and just figure out the best way to take what I do, bring it to you guys, answer questions, and help out my buddies that do a lot of the manufacturing, kind of plug a bunch of different products and really transition into a completely different side of the business that I don't think really exists yet. So here's what you're looking at right here. It is a Honda Civic headlight. It's the LED version. And we've also got the halogen version. These things are everywhere. These things are not so much everywhere, but I'm starting to see them more and more. Both of them have the same exact part, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. I was going to show you the OEM part, but I don't think that's very interesting. I think it's just, all you need to know is there's 3 little LEDs that are in this light, and so it causes the first 2 to be nice and bright. The third one lights up a little fiber optic tube that runs along the bottom, and so our friends at Profile Performance, I should say, have their line called the Pixel. So Pixel DRL is going to be a replacement for your OEM parts, which means you open up the lights, these have been opened up, separate the lens, you look in, there's a couple little retainer clips that hold in a circuit board, you unplug it, you put the new one in, and it fits perfect. Everything does what it's supposed to do like stock, but now you've got extra functions such as these color changing things. So I'll dive into that in a bit more in a second. Let's open them up. This is the driver. This is actually what comes with the box so that you can control everything. This is basically like the motor that turns these things on, that powers them, and makes sure that they get the right amount of voltage. And if you want to hook up the color changing setup from Profile or Morimoto, you can use theirs. That's an RGBW controller. I just have a regular RGB controller here. This is the one that we use on pretty much everything because we love the programmability feature that it has. And when Morimoto has that, then we'll be using theirs. So meanwhile, I'll be using the one that we can do extra cool stuff with. So just a couple cool little clips. I have no idea what the hell this thing is, but it looks cool. I don't know. It's a bag full of gadgetry. And here's our driver. That's not super exciting, but it has the features of dimming for staying on as a running light at nighttime. So it's not quite as bright as that, but when you hook it up to power at nighttime, it's going to dim down a little bit. And that's just so that you're not like blinding everybody else with your LED crazy bright, I get DRL. They call it DRL, daytime running light. So if you're running a daytime light at nighttime, obviously there's kind of a problem there. You're running daytime brightness, which in the daytime, everything looks like crap when it comes to lighting, except for all these brand new cars. They have the intense bright DRLs, and that's because you have to have them insanely strong to see with all the glare of the sunlight and stuff like that. So that's what you see here. Just from looking at these things on the bench, I mean, they are ridiculously bright. And so then when you add the features of color change, same thing, super bright. Got all the cool functions. This can be controlled with Bluetooth. So I think it's awesome. How they do it is with this board. So here's our fancy little Profile package. We've got a ton of those things everywhere. And this is it. It's a little circuit board. And there are a couple problems with the design of this. And just a few minutes ago, before I got on this, I spoke with Matt, which is the owner, and talked with him about a couple of the things that they're doing to address complaints / just feedback from builders such as ourselves and other builders that are out there doing a lot of the Profile, the Pixel DRL setups. So a lot of trucks, different things like that have similar issues. So the first thing I just want to do is show you how cool this thing looks. And to do that, I probably just got to get in front of the camera. So this thing is super dope. It's just got a cool look. Like, none of this has to be done this way. You know, it doesn't have to be pretty, but it is. And it's a nice metal board. It's got the crazy bright LED chips on there, and that's what's responsible for doing all the color changing stuff that you see there. So if you're looking at this thing in terms of what you're seeing there, it's literally this. You've just got 3 LEDs that are on. It's producing that whole effect. This bottom one is powering the lower acrylic piece, and you've got your color change stuff. Now here's what I want to
talk about, and what I'm going to keep talking about on these videos where we do these kind of product run-throughs, is the fact that there are some complaints. So let's get into that. First one, this is too damn short. So it kind of makes it cumbersome to get in there, connect everything that you need to without this being the exact length. I don't even know if that's the case on these Civic ones, but when I talked to Matt right now, he said that is an issue that they're addressing, and so they're going to make these things longer and better.
The next thing is these drivers. They power up the RGB stuff, but then you also have your regular functions tied in. So you've got your white running light, your turn signal feature, which I'll show you right now, and then your main ground. So it's just kind of weird hooking up the wires. There's kind of a lot going on back here that you're not seeing behind this headlight, and it could be easier. So they're coming out with a couple different fixes for that, including making the running light and the turn signal feature. That's all going to be built in with the switchback function, all of that, so that it's right out of the box. You don't need an RGB controller. You don't need to even worry about all of these extra components right here, and it will do it right out of the package, do your switchback function. So for the guys that just want that cool added effect on the Civic, whether they have the OEM projector lights, or these are the Type R OEM / this is actually a depot light. So anybody can pick this thing up. Retails like $5.50 on it. We have a promo code to get it 20% off. So if you're interested in getting these dope upgrade lights for your Civic, definitely use FlyRyde on the link that we'll put, so you can buy these things at 20% off. Dope stuff. But back to these. Let me show you the functions. So you've got your DRL, and then when I hit the turn signal, it's going to change and switch back. It's kind of a long delay, and then it pops back. So then, at the same token, if we look up running lights first, so say you're cruising around at night, you want them to stay on, not shut off, then they're going to do the same deal. So that's super cool. And then we've got them hooked up for RGB. Like I said, I'm using an XK Chrome controller here. I can push the button, but the main thing is I can control this with my phone, tablet, I guess that's it, phone or tablet. There's not really anything else to add there. I used to try to talk about the watch all the time, but that doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense when you're talking about crazy control setups like color changing. So turning things on and off, like with the Ryde controller, dope. Trying to control finite settings with color changing, not as dope. So that's it. That's the unboxing. That's the part. There's not a whole lot more to show you guys besides answer any questions that you have about these or about anything else. So it's going to be quite a lot of live unboxing, talking about product things, and as well as giving you guys feedback from the people who run these companies and letting you know what things they're going to do to change any of the features or new functions that they might add in. I know Matt's been asking a lot about what features we would like to see built into their RGBW controller, and the one that I always say is memory. I want to be able to turn it off and then turn it on and have a preset that I've defined based on that unique vehicle. So that if it's red, I want when you turn power on, it just pops back to red. That would be super dope with these if they had a Morimoto controller that did that. Since they don't, I'm using an XK Chrome. Hey, good for two companies. I really like both products. I think they're great. I think that the biggest issue I've heard with this so far is that when you hook them up and you give power to it, they automatically turn on. Installers hate this because that means that they have to run a special way to power them up that includes a switch and hooking it up to ignition on the car. Because otherwise, if you hook them up to power and ground so you can control them, they're just going to be on all the time. They're going to be on in this mode right here. So like imagine you hook it up and it's just stuck in bright white. You can't turn it off unless you have an individual switch. And if you do an individual switch only and you don't have it tapped into ignition, then every time you get in the car you have to flip that switch just to turn them on. And people kind of want to just jump in their car and go. I'm going to start bringing water. No, beer. Yes, beers for live videos. That's going to be dope. I'm excited about that part. So that's coming. So let me dive into some questions here and then I will wrap up. So these can be as short or as long as they need to be based on you guys. So if you have questions, you want me to answer anything specific to this or just anything related to lighting in general, then by all means, let's talk about it. So I'm going to respond to chat. And then I'm going to grab that thing and show you some different views back here after I answer questions. So let's see. Not a lot. We've got we've got Loki saying, what's up? What's up, bro? Same question, do you provide the light if we don't have an extra set to send you? Yes, we definitely have that. Okay, so yeah, this is going to be a short one, but I'm just going to answer a couple of these questions. So it was about if we provide a light, if you guys don't have an extra set. For sure, you guys want to buy an extra light and then we modify that and send it to you, that's a really easy way to go. That's the really easy way to go for anybody that's building custom lights. So there might be cases that people are reaching out to us for us to build lights and we can't build those lights, or we don't want to build those lights, but we know the perfect guy. We can actually get you set up with a set of lights, all the parts needed, and set things up with that builder so that you can get the job done. You don't have to wait for us. I'm the biggest bottleneck there is anyway, so you don't really want to wait for me. If you're dead set on me doing the work, then yeah, it's going to take a while. Be kind of open-ended, and that's not fair to everybody, so it really just comes down to people that really want to work it that way. Otherwise, we got a lot of stuff in the shop that always has to be built and shipped out that is like, we're obligated to do it, to finish it. A lot of production stuff that we've made parts that didn't exist, they took forever. And so we can't just work on everybody's lights and stop what we're doing on that end of it. But I still want to help you guys out, so I'll point you in the right direction. If we're not the right builder, there's another builder that is right for you, and we want to help you find that. All right, and so that was a long way of saying, yes, we can provide a set of lights for you, whether they're OEM, aftermarket, doesn't matter. So, that was scary, I don't know. Loki said, how much does a pair of 2013 Hyundai Genesis Coupe BK2 taillights cost? I need some just like KDM grills. Cool, that we can help with 100%. So I believe the cost for the OEM US spec is right around like $650, $630, something like that. And so we would get those. We actually have a great connection with Pointy Hills Hyundai. We would order the lights from them. We get 30% off, like just full transparency. We buy them 30% off. We upcharge them just a tiny little bit, but certainly not back to list price. That was bad. And then, oh, it was my foot. That's what was doing it. Bastard. Okay, so then we'll cut those open, modify them and all that. Having said that, if we do even the most basic modifications where we provide a $650 set of taillights, we slice it in half, open them up, paint stuff, put it back together, it's another $500. So you're looking at a good $1,200 on taillights before we really get into anything extra fancy. So if you want to add sequential on top of that, now we're getting up there. Now we're 2K plus. So it really just depends on what you're after. I say if we're going to do that, you can get some free stuff like the Audi style that's just a little lower strip, just like KDM grill. We do that for free while we're in there because it's just snipping one wire. So not a big deal. But anyway, that gives you an idea of some costs on custom Genesis Coupe taillights. And those fit all years from 2010 all the way up to the newest Genesis Coupe. So that is it. So Curtis says, if I pre-order a set of headlights from you, do I need to send? I don't have to send no lights to you, right? You'll provide lights. Yeah, if you want to buy them, basically that's it. So you don't have to take lights off your daily driver and send them in. I was going to talk about something about that today too. Just specifically about the fact that a lot of people have a daily driver. Oh yeah, here we go. So a lot of people have a daily driver and they will ask for quotes on upgrading those lights. And so they want to drive into the shop that day and get things done. So we can't do that. A lot of shops can, a lot of shops make a lot of their money wrenching on cars, but one big topic to really bring up here is that if we are spending time working in the workshop and we're building lights, and let's say they're expensive lights, let's say they're a job maybe that we can get done quickly that's not an expensive light. Like there's a few different options that we do here, but at the end of the day, we charge a certain amount for our time, right? So if you compare that to other builders, then you're comparing our time versus other builders' times. That's kind of the same ballpark, you know what I mean? We charge similar rates. If you compare our rates for doing things wrenching on your car, like removing your bumper, or to install an HID kit and like sitting there and twisting bulbs into place and doing that, there are lots and lots and lots of shops that offer those services, such as stereo shops. Don't go to them, by the way. Stereo shops are going to say, yeah, we do it all. And they're going to sit there and twist your bulb into place. They'll give you a good price on it, or maybe they won't. Maybe they'll screw it up and don't do anything to fix it. I don't know. That's stereo business. I don't know anything about it. I do know that if you want to compare apples to apples, then you shouldn't ask guys like us to pull your bumper. because we're not going to charge you the price that your boy down the street will do it, or that the body shop will do it, or that someone else will do it. We're going to charge you based on the rate that we charge to do custom work on headlights, because that's our time. Time is the same. I don't have a guy sitting in the corner waiting for like a car to roll in so he can pull the bumper off, and then like he gets it done, we pay him a couple peanuts, and then he goes back in the corner and goes away. Like, that's not real. It sounds terrible, actually. But if it's me, it's Jack, it's anybody that's here that's, you know, FlyRyde staff, and we're going to take time away from building lights to do things that are simple, like wrenching on a car, removing bumpers, things like that, then we have to charge the same rate, right? So it doesn't make sense. So I killed it. I turned that off. I don't like charging people a ton of money to do a simple task that they could, number one, do themselves, number two, that they could have anybody else do. So, you know, I'm trying to keep us specialized into what we do, and I'm trying to, I guess, kind of encourage other people too, that like, you don't have to take on the side of the business that makes you lose money, makes you stress out. I don't know. I used to work in my garage, and I would have cars that were there to get an install done. And if anything went wrong, which can happen when people don't drop their car off, you don't have any time to recoup, they'd be like waiting at my house. And then it would be 5 o'clock at the end of the day. And then it'd start raining, and then it's 6 o'clock, and they're still there, and then it's 8 o'clock, and they can't go home because they don't have headlights on their car to drive at nighttime until I finish. That sucks. Not into it, totally not down for that side of the business these days, which is why we build lights, we ship them out, and for most customers, that's perfect, because 95% of our people aren't in the state, or they're not in the country. They're all over the world. So like, it doesn't really make any difference to try to cater to that small percentage, and then on top of that, compete with pricing on like, oh yeah, well that guy down the street will pull your bumper for $15, so I'll do it too. Like, not if it takes me an hour. No way. That's crazy, right? That was a long answer, but I like it. I'm glad I said that. So I think when it comes to you know, getting any work done on the headlights that you already have that's on your daily driver, it can be done, but then there's downtime, and that sucks. So a lot of people opt to get aftermarket lights, and then they'll hit us up later on and say, hey, I want to modify my aftermarket lights. That can kind of present a problem too. So if we modify lights, it's always best to do it on OEM. We can warranty it. We know that the build quality is good because they have to be like, you know, above reproach to sell on a vehicle in North America, which is why a lot of the aftermarket lights can kind of go bad really quickly. The ones that we work with, we only want to work with lights that are going to be good over the long haul. We don't want it to be something that is just, you know, like a cheap replacement, and then a month later it looks like crap, or a year later it's completely trash. Like, especially on these GTR lights, we really, really like the quality of the aftermarket lights for them. But I get reports from other builders that are like, oh, I don't like to use that company or this company because they go wrong or they go bad. In my experience, the ones that have been good for me is what I recommend for you guys, and that's all I can really say. OEM is the best though, for sure. So if you want to send lights in to get thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars of work put into them, then use OEM, because you can't go wrong with that. You know they're going to last. Let me answer a question about the taillights again, and then I'm out of here. So, Loki, you asked about painted red instead of black. Same deal, it's just if we're not going to paint something like a satin black one-stage finish, which at the end of the day, it's just a really, really good black that we love. It looks great on the GTRs, it looks great on anything. It's not a rattle can like the thing that we did for Dustin. That was just a cool little example of how to get a decent finish out of a very, I don't know, easily accessible method, right? It's not going to a body shop, it's not buying expensive paint, gun, compressor, all that. It's just doing what a lot of people have access to. So that's what we did for Dustin. When we do the taillights in black, we do not do them that method. GTR lights, don't do it that method. Anything people pay us to get done in black is done in a much higher quality single stage. But if you're talking red, it's not single stage. It's two-stage paint. So you got base and clear, which means that we go to a professional painter, we have a body shop local, and then we have a better higher end body shop for those guys, like the GTR guys. They want everything perfect. That is in Riverside near our old shop. And then we have a guy down, Tim, in San Diego that does amazing, amazing quality work. He's actually part of SD Wrap down there in San Diego. So we have a painter for all situations, things that have to be custom masked off and kind of like intricate work. We use Tim. Anything that's just fancy two-stage paint and up, we can use our guys that are in Riverside, or we use our local guys in Beaumont that do really great work. So just not as high-end and not as fancy stuff, especially like we don't have to mask anything off custom or do anything that's like the pain in the butt. Get her done, keep the cost down for the customer, and it's good to go. So you can definitely get red taillights. I also realized that I'm staring at that stupid dot in the middle like it's a camera instead of at you guys this whole time, so I'm sorry that I'm a weirdo. So I think that's it. Is there a cheap way? BK2 taillights in stock, customer ones? You mean custom ones? I do have a set of BK2 taillights in stock that are ready to be painted. So you just have to choose the color. It's probably gonna be black. Is it cheap? Definitely never. I mean, that's just not part of the business, you know what I mean? We don't really do the cheap side of things. There's lots of guys out there for that. So if you're after cheap, I would look around. I definitely would. As far as having BK2 tails in hand, I can get a great number for the total package based on the fact that I don't think the taillights are perfect, so I certainly wouldn't charge full price on them. I don't know what the going rate is on used BK2 taillights, but it's probably like $300, something like that. So it's probably where you'd be at, plus modifications. So we do have those. I was pretty much just intending on demoing our fully sequential OEM LED setup for those BK2 taillights. So that will be on an upcoming video. It's not like this, not live. It'll actually have some value so that we can teach people how to do that exact job using the Ghost modules. And yeah, that's going to be its own thing, separate. So it might not be the way to go for you at this point. And that's, I'm talking to Kill Squad Media. So you said, you mean Dustin is painting it with like a cheap way, like quality wise. Yeah, so we just don't offer that. That's not like a service that we sell. So Dustin didn't pay me and I was like, hey, yeah, let me take your money, Dustin. I'm gonna go buy a rattle can, shake it up, and stand on the side of my house and paint stuff. Like, it was a cool video, but like that's not how we do it. That was just a teaching, a little DIY. Like, if you want to do it, that's the way to do it on the cheap, you know, if you want to do it yourself. So if you want to cut your taillights open, I have a video that shows that. If you want to paint them black and do it cheap, you can do that, for sure. We just can't offer that service to you like on the cheap. So hope that explains that at all. And so I am wrapping up, guys. I'm going to do a bunch of these videos. So for anybody that has watched through this that has no interest in Honda Civic stuff, let me know what you are interested in. Write down in the comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see me keep doing these unboxing and videos. I will say big thanks to Matt for talking to me about some of the changes that they're going to make. Matt is the owner of TRS. Morimoto, he's the mystery man behind all the action in the automotive industry. Automotive lighting industry, my bad. And any other owners out there, Paul at Diode, let's do some product videos of yours. We're going to do a lot of stuff with XK Glow. We've been showing some of their products, like this color changing remote that's not on. It's probably more interesting than the white. Wow. Super dope. Alright, so with that, I will I'm gonna kill it. Kill the video. It's over.